Hey, welcome back. So this is Facebook ads for beginners, and this is part 2. So if you haven't watched part 1, I'll leave the link in the description. You just head on back and watch that part 1. That's just about getting your ads account started and getting going. This is going to be part 2, and this is going to be about creating the interest. It's going to be about using saved audiences. This is going to be about really helping you get started. Now, this is for beginners, right? Now, if you're advanced, then obviously maybe this isn't for you, but this is just kind of help you get the groundwork and framework set up. Once you get things rolling and you get your first ad set up, then you'll start to get the hang of this, and then it'll become easier for you. Now, make sure you subscribe to my channel. That way, you get all the notifications of all the by hitting the bell option. That way, you get notified of all of the new videos that I come out with on a daily basis. So here we are. This is really part 2, and this is the interest. This is who you're going to be targeting. So that you got to think about this for a second. Who's your audience? Like who out there do you want to put an ad in front of? If you have a health related product, you want to make sure you get your ad in front of people that are looking to lose weight or looking to CrossFit or a very specific thing that they're looking to do. If you're into marketing, you want to make sure that you're getting in front of the people that are looking for marketing material or need help with leads or traffic or generating more income, whatever it is. You got to make sure you think about your interest and who you're going to be targeting. And a lot of this is going to be a lot of trial and error. Okay, so you're not going to really know exactly until you run a lot of data through Facebook on exactly who your customer is. You might think that, yeah, this is a good interest, and then you run some data through it and it bombs. And then you run another interest and you get a ton of conversions or you get a ton of traffic or whatever it is you're trying to target, and that's the one you run with, okay? So a lot of this is going to be a lot of trial and error. There's no real perfect thing for this. You just have to test out a lot of things until you find something that's going to work. So what you want to do is your ad set name. Okay, you can just call this whatever you want. Let's just say I'm going to use the example of we're going to use marketing. Okay, we're going to use, let's say we're selling a marketing product. Okay, online that let's say it's an MLM company, or let's say it's an MLM opportunity. So MLM opportunity, who would be your target audience? Well, there's a lot of ways you could do this. There's gurus like Eric Worre, who's real big into network marketing. Ray Higdon does a lot of trainings in that. You have Mike Dillard, who's big in that. Even Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Allen, even Tony Robbins. Okay, let's just take Tony Robbins. We're going to go big, but you got to understand this is that when I say these interests and we work on these interests, there's going to be lots of other people that are actually doing the same thing that you would be doing. Okay, so you got to understand that you're actually bidding against a lot of other people. So the cost for clicks could be very high. So that's why I recommend. I'm going to show you Tony Robbins, but if you could find somebody else or smaller idea, then go with that. Now you don't have to stick with maybe people. You could stick with magazines. There's network marketing magazines or marketing magazines or success magazine or entrepreneur magazine. You can actually target those. So what you're doing is you're actually targeting the fan page of a particular magazine or a person out there. Okay, so that's what you're targeting. You're targeting the fans of that fan page. So let's just take Tony Robbins. He probably has about 4 million people that have liked his fan page. Well, you get to place an ad in front of all of those 4 million people if you want to. Okay, and that's what I'm going to show you right here. So let's just take, for example, here. I'm going to say, we're going to use this. I'm going to say USA. I'm going to say men. And I'm going to say 40 plus Tony Robbins. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to head to traffic, and we're just going to use website for right now. Okay, you don't have to worry about app or messenger or anything like that. The offer, we're going to leave that off. Now the audience. So what you're going to do is we're going to create a new audience. So you have custom audiences. You can create custom audiences if you have an email list, or if you run a lot of data on your pixel on your website. You can actually target people that have actually come to your website, which is even better than actually trying to find a good interest out there. But we're new and we don't have any data yet, so we need to really get out there and find some data. Okay, so location, United States. All right, we're going to leave it like that. Now age, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to 40, and then I'm going to set the high end to, let's say, 60. So men between the ages of 40 and 60. That's going to be my target audience. And right here, I'm going to say men. Okay. Languages, you can leave it here, but I'll just click on English all. And then detailed targeting. So detailed targeting is where you can really get into this. You can really go wild with this and get into a lot of good details here. So let's just take an example. We're going to say Tony Robbins. Okay, if we click on Tony Robbins, it says 8 million people that we can actually target. So right here, since we're doing 40 between 60 and we're doing men, it says 870 people potential that you can reach. Look, if I set this to, let's say if I set this to 20, now look, 3.6 million people. So what I've done is I've kind of narrowed it down a little bit, which is going to be better because you don't want to do too broad like that, because you're going to be wasting money on people maybe you don't want to be spending money on. Okay, now you can set up different ad sets for this. So if you want to target between 20 and 40 men, you can do that. Do that on a separate campaign, or do it on a separate ad set. Okay, so you would do an ad set too. So then you would do like 20 to 40. Okay. So you just set up, where are we at here? So we set up Tony Robbins, okay, 870,000 people. Now you could narrow this down. So this, you see this narrow option right here? Let me just come in here, narrow audience, okay? So narrow audience, if you click on narrow audience, what it does is now you can dig in a little deeper if you wanted to. So you can do demographics, so education, you can do education level. Maybe you want to target people that have has a college degree or a high school degree, or that's in college now, or in grad school. Okay, so these are different levels that you could go after. Financial income. Let's say you want to target people between or over 500,000. Let's just say, for example, people over 500,000. You can target them based on Tony Robbins and this setup right here. Okay. So you can narrow it down to a lot of different things. If you want to exclude people, you can do that as well. But for example, and just to help you move along, we're going to use Tony Robbins as a global interest right here. We won't target it down, but you can narrow it down, and it's good to keep testing these. Okay, so it's good to test Tony Robbins, and then what you could do is you could actually come in here and you do another set. You could you'll just duplicate this set, and then you'd come in here and you could do Tony Robbins, and then you could say narrow the audience down. But what you would do is you would actually you would say you'd narrow the audience down, and you would put that in here. So Tony Robbins, and then you would say minus or plus 100,000 K income level. Right? That would be a totally separate ad set. But you can test this until you really get the sweet spot on this. And the sweet spot is getting conversions. That's the ultimate goal. If you're spending money on an ad, you got to make sure you're getting your money back. You can't just keep spending money throwing out ads, because if you're not getting money back in, you can't reinvest that money back into more ads. Okay, so Tony Robbins, and then what we'll do is we'll go all the way down here to placements. Now you can say automatic placements. What I like to do is I like to take off the audience network. I like to take off Instagram. I even take off right column, and I take off instant articles. The only thing I leave is mobile and desktop and feeds. Now, an important thing too is this: if you're getting people to click on your ad and it's going to your website, make sure your website is mobile friendly. Make sure it's mobile ready to go. There's nothing worse than spending clicks going to a mobile page that doesn't work. So you have to do a lot of testing on that. If you wanted to just do desktop, you can. So desktop only. Okay, so desktop only, or you can do mobile only if you want. And then you can do all devices. So all devices would be everything. So I'm going to take these back out again. I'm going to leave instant articles and right columns. You see everything else is taken off. So now what I've done, now we've kind of narrowed this down to, we have 400,000 people that we can target right now. Okay, so then what I do down here is I just come down here to budget and I click on $5. That's all I do. I do $5 tests. You just do $5 tests and see what kind of data you get. You may only get like 3 or 4 clicks, but the important thing is you got to let this ad set run for at least 4 days. 3 days minimum, but at least 4 days, and let the data happen. Because what happens is Facebook, when they first get your ad, they need to let it run for a little bit to kind of see what works. After about 4 days, you could actually start to see your clicks go down. But you always got to make sure you're testing everything. And the way you test is using the pixel. But if you have your own tracking, it's so important to use that as well. I use Clickmagic for that. So anytime I run my traffic, I'll use Clickmagic and I'll see what kind of conversions is happening. And then I leave everything else. I just leave everything the same here. Everything looks good. Okay, so this is a basic setup for your ads, and then you click continue, and then this goes over to the third part, which is setting up the actual ad that you're going to run. So now what we're doing is we're going to be targeting Tony Robbins. We're going to be targeting people between 40 and 60, and we're targeting only men. Now, if you wanted to go back, you set up another ad set. You set up only women if you wanted to. Okay. So there you go. That's how you set up the interest. Now just go and do that. This was part 2. I'm gonna put the links to part 3. Part 3 is all going to be about setting up the ad and how to get the ad up and running. Very quickly and very, very easily. All right. So make sure that you've got your business account set up. You have your fan page set up. That you have your pixel on your websites, and get the pixel. Make sure the pixel is working, all right, before you get it set up. Set up your first interest right here with your interest right here. And then what we'll do is we'll set up the ad on the next video. So just look for that link for part 3 of setting up your Facebook ads for beginners, all right? So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next one.